Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's boardzy, and over the weekend, Valorant just wrapped up their yearly Champions Tour, and Edward Gaming out of China was victorious. And this is going to be a video looking at the peripherals from both them and Team Heretics, the European team they beat. And I'm not going to lie, the Chinese peripherals do not disappoint, but we're going to start off with the losers, who are a Logitech-sponsored team. And I'm not explicitly saying that Heretics lost because they're using Logitech G640 mousepads and the G Pro X keyboard, but I don't think that helped. Only 2 of the players on their team had rapid trigger keyboards, whereas everybody on EDG had it. Again, I understand the game at a high level is about more than just fucking keyboards, but it's just very interesting to see. And the way sponsors work in esports nowadays, it's not like commanding, like they can only use Logitech peripherals, but it's highly encouraged, and there might be a financial benefit, like if they're actually using it at the high-end tournaments. So but you can certainly opt out of it. Like, we'll get to other players, but Woot, he's fucking taking all the company dollars. He's got the G Pro X 60% keyboard. I think this is the recent release that everybody was clowning. G640 pad and a Superlight. The Superlight, it's an overhated mouse, and that might just be more of a mouse community thing versus just like esports and gamers at large. But yeah, the Superlight, it's safe, it's reliable, the tech is good, the weight is good, the shape is safe. I mean, it's a popular mouse for a reason. But the G640, I really don't think it's a good mouse pad. Okay, next up is former Fortnite legend turned Valorant pro Benjyfishy, and he is not giving in to Logitech's demands. He has a Wooting 60AG keyboard with a custom keycap. You might be like, how do you know? These 3 dots on the spacebar, and they force him to cover up his mouse pad. But you're giving me enough pixels. That's clearly a GameSense radar. He had done a collab in the past with them, but yeah, he's just using a Radar Classic and a GPX. So he's giving Logitech a little bit of representation. This is a base setup, in my opinion. Benji has to be in the conversation for like one of the best gamers ever. Okay, next up is going to be Boo, followed by Miniboo, which I think is insane naming, but he's using a Razer Viper V2 Pro, which I respect. It's not the most recently released mouse, let's say, but if you like a flat kind of FK style mouse, it's definitely still one of the best options on the market. But the keyboard choice, I do kind of find insane. Like, it's a Logitech G Pro X TKL wireless or whatever, and I just figure you would use it wired, but it looks like it's connected to a wireless dongle. And sure, there could be a better screenshot somewhere. The research department was awfully lazy, but I find using a wireless keyboard at LAN just so counterintuitive. Like, are you moving the keyboard mid-round? Why not just fucking plug it in? And he also is using like a G640 mousepad, so it's a respectable setup. And as promised, next up is Miniboo. He has a Deathadder V3 Pro, obviously a respectable mouse, one of the best ergos on the market. He does once again have the Logitech G Pro TKL wireless, but at least it's pink, you know? There was no color in any of these Heretics setups. And yeah, it's just one thing I noticed, that Heretics had these like very bland, basic peripheral choices, really nothing out there, which is a big contrast with EDG. But there's one more player, right? Oh yeah, who is it? RieNs, I don't know how you pronounce it, but here he is. I believe he's Turkish, and they really, every time they just refuse to show one player on each team setup, and it was him this time. He does have a GPX once again, the only mousepad in the tournament that I was not able to ID, really the only peripheral in general. They did put the green tape over the logo, and I have no idea. It could be Lethal Gaming Gear, could maybe be Artisan, could be a ton of companies, and I believe he did have a Wooting 60HE for the keyboard. So pretty respectable, but yeah, they just didn't show his setup a ton. But now on to the winners, people who matter. And yeah, let me say that every peripheral that EDG is using is a based peripheral. Like, I think almost all of them have the boardzy seal of approval. I would not be surprised if they are watching my videos that get translated and uploaded onto Bilibili. But first and foremost, we have nobody who is using a Deathadder V3 Pro, a Lethal Gaming Gear Saturn Pro, and is this the Razer keyboard? Yeah, it is the Razer Huntsman Mini 60%. So yeah, there was a point in time where the Deathadder V3 Pro and the Saturn Pro was my main. So that's obviously a setup that I can stand by and recommend. Next up on EDG is going to be Smoggy. I've heard that he loves to smoke. That's a thing, the Chinese love to smoke even more than Americans. But yeah, he's using a Razer Viper V3 Pro with the stock grips, which is, in my opinion, surprising. I don't think they're great. I think the white coating's good, but clearly he thinks for his situation the grips make more sense, and he's using a Matcha Artisan Type 99. So we do see 2 of those with EDG. And I just feel like for all of the Heretics players on G640s, like, Artisan's not the boogeyman. You can fucking get a Type 99. God forbid you don't like it, go back to the G640. But I just feel like it's just so far and away a better control pad. Yeah, Artisan ran to side. He is using another Huntsman V3 Pro, which does seem to be pretty popular in the Valorant scene. I don't think it's any better than Wooting, but maybe Razer's just aggressive with like sending them out to people, or the whole snap tap video situation. But I'm kind of surprised that there is only one Viper V3 Pro in the grand finals. I know Zekin uses it and like props it up, but yeah, I don't know. Overall, pretty good setup. On to the next one. And yeah, next up is going to be Chichoo. He was doing very well. Easily the second best performance. He's using an orange Artisan 0. Absolutely based. Another GPX, you know, it's a staple mouse. That's really what it is. And the keyboard, it threw me off at first. I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? But it's just another custom Wooting case. He did have a set of like jet custom keycaps on. But yeah, I'm just almost positive that this is just another Wooting. And yeah, not really too much to say. Once again, Artisan 0, GPX, these are traditional top tier peripherals, and he was able to do very well. There was one player on the team, I believe Simon, who was using a very out there mousepad, because in Valorant it's just kind of understood that you use a control smooth cloth mousepad, but he is using an Artisan Hayate Otsu, I almost said a Key 83, along with a Lamzu Thorn. So these are definitely the most like aimer core peripherals, if that makes sense. Seeing a textured hybrid mousepad and then a lightweight ergo like the Lamzu Thorn, it's just very surprising to see on a stage like this where pretty much everybody's just using like cookie cutter, super light Deathadder V3 Pro. Just the sheer amount of Artisan representation from EDG, it really did make me feel good inside. It's like, wow, the Artisan, like the tides are turning, we're winning the war. And that brings us to the last player, the GOAT, Kangkang. And you see him, he just looks like a robot, a super soldier with like his kinesio tape. I hope that's the right pronunciation. I posted a tweet, I didn't really know what it was. He once again has a Wooting with some custom keycaps. He's using a Vaxee NP01S wireless in pink. So another not traditional mouse. I know Zowie, Vaxee, these are brands associated with TAC FPS, but clearly they're not popular. They're not the majority of products. So seeing him like frag out, dominate with an NP01S, which is a mouse that some people discredit because it has literally 2 milliseconds more of latency versus something like a Viper V3 Pro GPX, which is clearly brain dead because you see what this guy can do. It's just a crazy phenomenon for average players, like genuinely not even approaching pro level, will hold their nose and be like, I'm not buying this mouse because the tech is bad. Well, you see this guy on like a global stage setting kill records. His click timing's clearly not impacted by the additional 2 milliseconds of click latency. But yeah, he also has a Type 99, so this is just an all-around very base setup. I find it interesting that despite regional tensions, you know, Kangkang is using the products that he wants to use. Vaxee is a Taiwanese company and Artisan is Japanese, so both of those are not Chinese, even though with Taiwan there might be a debate there. Yeah, I just noticed from EDG an experimental energy. They were willing to do whatever it takes, think outside of the box, and ultimately they won. You can analyze the game. Ultimately, it was a peripheral diff. A win for China, a win for peripherals, and a win for you if you made it to this point in the video. That's really all I have to say. People are always like, oh, do this for more events, but there are very few events that live up to this standard when it comes to esports. So that's going to be all. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. If I got anything wrong, let me know. Probably didn't, though. Peace out.
带着兰花草，假装无富贵，口袋无财宝，寒风中刺骨，情为好仕途。我的明月处，用兰花换金肤。